Yeah, good morning. This is Bang Bang Ray Hill. Just a little podcast, yeah, about what happened in Chelmsford, and this is unbelievable, yeah. When I was in Chelmsford prison, I see this old boy walking about with lumps of wood, always wood. He had little bits of wood, big bits of wood, and he was on the forge, yeah, take it up to his cell. And I went, that's fucking crazy, man. It's weird, really weird, you know. And I was asking people who was that geezer, and like he looked like he was used to be a bit of a lump, you know, because he had massive, like, big wrists and big arms, yeah, like forearms, not bicep, but forearm big, you know, massive fingers, and he was always walking backwards. And I mean, great, listen, you're in prison, yeah, but Chelmsford, you could get away with anything you wanted to get away with. It's such a lax prison, honestly. It was just run by the cons. It was just so lax, yeah. And I mean, to take wood in your cell is a fire hazard anyway. You know what I mean? Mad, isn't it? He take loads and loads and loads, and he was always walking around. He was up to screw his asses all the time, and he was always making them cups of tea and coffee and all that, you know. And I said to one guy one day, I said, "Who's that geezer?" They said, we believe there's a guy called Ken English, yeah, but some people say that that's a made up name, and someone said it was a really bad child molester. Child, I said, do what? I said, you're mad, yeah? And Chelmsford is a good prison. I don't want to get chucked out of Chelmsford prison, but you know, for what he was, I mean, he's supposed to have done 20 odd years behind the door. And you know, he was a bad rapist, mate. He come from Jersey, I believe. I'm not quite sure, but I'm sure his name was changed. And did you know, like, a thing called Karma? A thing called Karma. And anyway, one day, we was all banged up. You know, everybody. We was in the kitchen. We don't get banged up in the kitchen. There's no reason to bang us up anyway in the kitchen. But everyone else was banged up, and they said we can't go out into the wing. But in Chelmsford prison, you had the kitchen. You had a door there that leads onto a little wing. Yeah, the little wing was a wing that they used for films and things like that. Yeah, so it was not used, but it used to go down to the gate to the centre, which is locked, so we could go down there, but we couldn't go out onto the main prison itself. Yeah, but we could go down to the centre, and this is what we was told. I mean, you know, it's karma, and there were some guys that used to knock about with Ken English, a couple of guys, and they made a Ouija board. Yeah, seriously, they made a Ouija board, and they used to go in his cell. You used to see him go in his cell and bang the door, and at night times when it was time to bang out, the screws come on the door and let him out. Yeah. Anyway, this particular time everyone was banged up, and what he'd done, Ken English, he'd wedged. He had so much wood in his door, in his cell. He'd made about 4 wedges in his door, and they just couldn't get him out of the cell. You know, they just couldn't get him out of the cell. He was in his cell all the time. He was banging the doors, smashing the doors, crying, screaming, but they couldn't get him out, and he couldn't pull the wedges out. Yeah, he'd gone too far, and he couldn't pull them out. You know, and what had happened? Something happened to the Ouija board that got hold of him, and they banged everybody else up, and then they jacked the door off. I don't know how to do it. They jacked the door, smashing at him, smashing the door with a sledgehammer or what they was doing. They eventually got him out, and we come down to the gate to the centre, and see this guy. Listen to me tell you something. His hair was pure white, white than white. His face was like a skeleton's face, yeah. It's all black under there. It was like a skeleton's face. Whatever it was he mucked about at the Ouija board, whatever he mucked about with, someone come from that Ouija board and really mucked him up, yeah, and done something to him, mate. And then we was told that he died. He died of a really bad heart attack in another prison. Come on, that is karma, isn't it? I mean, 20 odd years he done in prison for really serious rapes in Jersey. We believe it was in Jersey. Anybody can Google it, and I mean, anybody can find out that a serious rapist in Jersey. He done about 20 odd years. So whether his name was Ken English, I don't know, but you might be able to check it out and find out who he was. Yeah, but he died in there. Yeah, and another thing that I remember in the prisons I was with, that once Albany, when I went to Albany in '74, early '74, there was no fences around Albany. No fences. They had a wall, and that was it. But no fences at that time, yeah. And Mountbatten, Mountbatten was the one that put fences in every prison in England, yeah. All the fences inside is from Mountbatten, Mountbatten. But did you know Mountbatten was alleged sex offender? Did you know that? Yeah, Mountbatten was alleged a sex offender. How many people that alleged armed robbers, things like that, or GBH, alleged attempted murders, that they ain't walking the street, mate. They get put in prison, and they get put in prison until such time the trial comes up. Yes or no? Mountbatten allegedly sex abuse of kids, and just walked the street, mate. And then he got blown up, or something got happened, and then he put all the fences around all the prisons. I mean, come on. One minute you're sexually, or you're alleged to sexually abuse kids or whatever. The next minute you're putting gates around, fences around prisons to keep prisoners in. You know what I mean? I mean, does that make sense to you? You know what I mean? And this is what happens. This is what happens in life. People with money, basically Roy. Come on, mate. He was a member of the royal family, Mountbatten. Very rich man, one of the richest men in England at that time. You know, and allegedly gets done for rape or for allegedly sexually abusing children. Is that allowed? Do you know what I mean? It's crazy what goes on in life. Anyway, it's only a little podcast really, but I was more concerned about that as well, Mountbatten doing that, and I mean, everybody. I mean, if you're watching my podcast this morning, and how many people famous people have been alleged or have been done for sexual abuse and walking the streets. You know what I mean? There isn't many that go in prison for that. There's a couple. There's a couple, but they've all been walking the streets for a long, long time and been doing things to kids for a long, long time before actually everybody knows. Everybody knows it goes on, but nothing happens yet. Anyway, this is Bang Bang Hill. Please like and subscribe. Press the like button and subscribe. But I'm more concerned about the Lord Mountbatten turnout and